The Shadow Skulls chapter was founded in circa 658 M37. Under the command of Chapter Master Karaf Octagus, the Shadow Skulls established their fortress monastery in circa 925 M37 on the high world of Indril. The fortress monastery is directly hidden inside a mountain in the desolate mountain range found in the northern hemisphere. Indril is among 6 planets that make up the Kyrios system, located in the northern fingers of the Segmentum Pacificus. The chapter are descendants from the Raven God and are thus sons of Corvus Corax. Chaplains in the Shadow Skulls are a blend of librarian and chaplain, taking over the librarian's role of record-keeping, protecting sacred artifacts and trophies, as psykers, aside from astropaths and navigators, are forbidden within the Shadow Skulls and are treated with grievous mistrust. In circa 842 M39, an orc warg attacked the Shadow Skulls' homeworld of Indril. Chapter Master Cessus Mero receives imperial reports that an orc raid is occurring in the neighboring system to the north. The raid was nothing short of an orc warg, and its cause was right for the homeworld of Indril. It was expected that it would take roughly 5 months for the chapter's 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th companies to arrive in system, and an additional week to arrive in the planet's orbit in order to provide support and reinforcement. The Orc Warg would arrive in the planet's orbit within 3 months. Cessus Mero sent a request for reinforcements. He received word that a liberation force of Imperial Guardsmen and Adeptus Astartes would arrive in system within 7 months. Indril's 5 hives, located in the southern hemisphere, Nax, Praelis, Fellfall, Karras and Grimcaller, were bolstered and supplies were stocked up en masse. Civilians from the Underlow hive were formed into militia regiments and given basic training. The Shadow Skulls prepared the heart of Indril for the ensuing siege, as it was expected that the orcs would prioritize the chapter's fortress monastery once it was discovered. Indril was the outermost planet of the system and thus needed to be taken, or the Imperium would have an excellent staging area to launch a counterattack. Cessus knew that the planetary fleet, consisting of half the chapter's naval strength and a small contingent of PDF gunboats, would not be able to stop the Orc fleet, but rather would be used to draw very small elements of the fleet before destroying them, or dispatch of straying vessels until reinforcements arrived. When the Greenskins arrived above the planet's orbit, the Orcs had taken minuscule losses and obtained complete void superiority, and thus were able to land forces anywhere they desired. The hive cities of Nax, Karras and Fellfall were captured within 2 weeks. The Shadow Skulls conducted their preferred way of warfare, guerrilla warfare. Orcs would be constantly ambushed when small groups went on scouting missions. The chapter also prioritized vehicle depots and would be destroyed or sabotaged. The chapter used their far superior stealth capabilities to exemplary use, luring warbands to predetermined ambush sites before they would be attacked from all sides, and assault marines would plunge into their lines, causing chaos. Cessus sent brothers of the 5th Company on missions to assassinate warband warbosses and powerful nobs to create infighting and slow the Greenskins' advance. 2 months after the Orcs descended upon the world of Indril, the chapter's fortress monastery was discovered. All of the brothers received a vox and were to return to the heart of Indril and defend it until reinforcements arrived. Fortunately for the Shadow Skulls, the founding brothers built their monastery inside a mountain. There were only 3 entrances into it, all of which were large caves. Additionally, secret hangars had been constructed for Thunderhawks, Storm Ravens, Storm Talons and Stormhawks. However, when these camouflaged hangar doors were sealed, it was almost impossible to spot, and thus appeared to be only the side of the mountain. The remaining 2 hives were largely ignored, and a vast majority of the Greenskin Warg was diverted to the chapter's fortress monastery. It had been fortunate for the Sons of Corax that they had the time to prepare, otherwise their mountain home would not have held out long enough for reinforcements to arrive. After 2 months of desperate and grinding fighting, Master of Shadows, Cessus, received word over one of the chapter's Vox channels that the companies from 1st to 4th had arrived in the system and were a day's travel from the planet. Fortunately, they had arrived undiscovered, as the orcs were so ferociously focused on the planet. The fleet linked up with Indral's defense fleet, and together their naval might was able to cut a path and hold a minuscule section of the planet's orbit in order to deploy their complement of ferocious battle brothers eager to help their kin and purge the Xenos filth that had descended upon their homeworld. After the 385 brothers were successfully deployed via drop pods and Thunderhawks, whilst the remaining chapter strength of 428 held in the fortress monastery, the fleet withdrew before a detachment could organize and annihilate the fleet. Drop pods smashed into the orcs massed at the cave entrances, whilst Thunderhawks strafed landing zones before dispatching their cargo of Shadow Skulls. Right at this moment, the defenders of the fortress monastery sallied out in armored transport and predator tanks. This did not cause a victory, but rather lead to the greenskins withdraw for a few hours to regroup. Hundreds of orcs outside the caves and hundreds of thousands inside were massacred. When the chapter had fully reunited, 517 brothers remained of the previous 813. The chapter held out for a further 3 months before the Imperium's reinforcements had arrived. Within a month, the orcs had been broken, and now the chapter was searching the hospitable dense jungles in the northern hemisphere of Indral for Warbor's Mad Cleaver to finally end his crushed warg and finish the battle that had started months ago. Chaplains Gririan Vigudas and Cassiarea's Sorrow met the towering warboss in combat and slew Mad Cleaver. This act caused the remaining orcs to retreat and hide within the dense jungle. Chaplain Gririan was mortally wounded and was placed within a dreadnought sarcophagus. The cleansing of the planet took 2 centuries before it was deemed clear of Xenos taint. After the battle for Indral had been won, only 131 Astartes remained. A shrine was built in the capital city, Hive Praelis. This monument was constructed to honor all who had given their lives in defense of the planet. Following the conclusions of the battle, the Shadow Skulls started to repair their damaged fortress monastery and requisitioned transports, tanks, speeders and gunships to replace their lost vehicles from the Adeptus Mechanicus. The Shadow Skulls have since spent the past 2 millennia rebuilding their chapter as due to the mutation in the Sons of Korax and the chapter's harsh recruiting trials. Replenishing their numbers has taken a considerable time. In circa 995 M41, the Shadow Skulls had returned to full chapter strength. Throughout the 2 millennia, the chapter was prosecuting stealth operations whereby individual squads would be dispatched to planets in nearby orc-held systems. These squads would be equipped with intelligence, detailing targets to eliminate that were becoming powerful within their warbands or tribes. These assassination missions are constantly being carried out by the Shadow Skulls, even to this day, as to prevent another warg from assailing numerous imperial worlds and to create chaos within the orc hierarchy. It is for this reason that the chapter has gained quite a reputation for battling orcs, and are one of the most highly requested imperial forces when fighting the Greenskin menace. It has been noted that the Shadow Skulls have an abnormally high amount of Terminator suits, numbering above 70, as it is almost impossible for a chapter to acquire such a high number of Terminator suits comparable to that of the first and second founding chapters. This high number of rare power armor has led to a great amount of distrust towards the Shadow Skulls, as many chapters believe that these suits are being taken from battlefields or stolen from armories, and this has caused numerous chapters to refuse to work alongside the Shadow Skulls. The Shadow Skulls are organized along the guidelines of the Codex Astartes. Much like their progenitor chapter, the Raven Guard, they have adopted many of their subtle changes. Shadow Skulls captains are known as Shadow Captains, and the chapter master is known as the Master of Shadows. Additionally, company captains are largely independent. This allows the companies from 1st to 5th to operate autonomously. The Shadow Skulls maintain an unusually high number of chaplains compared to most Astartes chapters, as 3 chaplains are assigned to each company. The chapter adheres to the Emperor's Edict of Nicaea. After the original founding Master of Shadows, Keraf Octagus, discovered an ancient passage detailing the final verdict when he was a brother of the Raven Guard chapter. The Shadow Skulls much like the Raven God, focus on hit-and-run tactics and have a preference for land speeders over attack bikes for reconnaissance due to its versatility. Additionally, atmospheric transports such as Thunderhawks and Storm Raven gunships are used extensively for rapid deployment and extractions. However, in contrast to the rest of the chapter, the veteran First Company employs frontal assault tactics akin to that of many Adeptus Astartes chapters. The Shadow Skulls have increased the First Company size from 100 to 131 as a sign of respect to those who survived the Battle of Indral. In addition to this, Master of Shadows Argor Ortev made a decree that an 11th company would be created for the 100 Primaris Astartes that the chapter received after the Ultima founding, as all Battle Brothers viewed their Primaris brothers with distrust. Argor assigned a veteran Shadow Captain and 3 veteran chaplains to teach these new Astartes the chapter's culture and way of conducting battle. The chapter, much like the other Sons of Corax, adhere to the Codex Astartes. However, the Shadow Skulls specialize in guerrilla tactics. The Shadow Skulls utilize precision hit-and-run attacks, looking for weak points in the enemy's position before breaking through them and employing lightning attacks on the flanks, decimating the enemy. As the Shadow Skulls are a highly mobile chapter, land speeders, rhinos, razorbacks and storm raven gunships are primarily used for rapid deployment and retreat if weakness in an enemy position is not found. Scout squads are heavily used to reckon hostile positions to allow a drop pod and mechanized assault in unison, crippling the enemy. Due to the hit-and-run tactics of the chapter, assault squads are extensively used. Tactical squads are commonly deployed in drop pods, storm raven gunships and Thunderhawks. In staunch contrast, the First Company employs more traditional frontal assault tactics, as a majority of the First Company wears Terminator armor. Brothers of the Shadow Skulls do not have function in macronoid or Belcher's gland. Additionally, the melanchromic organ has mutated where every member of the chapter has bone-white skin, in addition to jet-black eyes and hair. The Shadow Skulls revere chaplains within the chapter, as they believe that these warriors are the Emperor's will made manifest. The death mask is worn by chaplains in Adeptus Astartes chapters and invokes the image of the Emperor as he watches over the Imperium, much like the chaplains watch over their brothers. Within the Shadow Skulls chapter, the Emperor is seen more as a father figure with immense power, rather than a god, which has become increasingly common for Adeptus Astartes since his interment on the Golden Throne. The highly venerated status and idealization has led to all members of the chapter wearing death masks as a sign of respect and constant reminder that they cannot and will not fail their duty to the Emperor. It is for this reason that the chapter has followed very strictly to the Edict of Nicaea. Only astropaths and navigators are employed within the Shadow Skulls. As sons of Corvus Corax, they have inherited the gene seed mutation which turns skin bone white as well as hair and eyes jet black. However, for the Shadow Skulls, all brothers of the chapter have bone white skin, jet black hair and eyes once they have been implanted with the organs required of an Adeptus Astartes. Due to the unsettling appearance of the Shadow Skulls for most people of the Imperium, the brothers of the chapter never remove their helmets unless they are only surrounded by their brothers. What seems like suspicious behavior to some members of the Imperium has over the millennia led to a level of distrust and at times outright refusal to work alongside the Shadow Skulls, as some believe that behind their helmets they hide grotesque mutations. However, their loyalty has been proven numerous times on countless battlefields. Not long after the resurrection of one of the Emperor's sons, Robuti Gilliman, the chapter received reinforcements in the form of a company of Primaris Astartes. Although these additional forces were accepted by the chapter, it was begrudging to see almost all brothers see these new Astartes as nothing more than a perversion of the Emperor's work. More importantly, to most, these new brothers were seen as untested and unproven due to the fact that they had not progressed from Scout to Devastator, Devastator to Assault, and assault to tactical. However, these new Astartes were their brothers and sons of Corax. This new company strength would be organized into an 11th company. They would be led by an experienced captain and chaplains of the chapter so as to prove themselves. Much like many Adeptus Astartes chapters' recruitment processes, the Shadow Skulls test their initiates through many trying trials. The attrition rate is high, and only the most cunning, mentally strong, and physically tough are expected to pass all 4 trials. The first trial is the Path of Resilience. Initiates are drugged and left in the swamps of Indral. They are expected to overcome their handicap and survive within for 3 days, with the dangerous predators lurking about. The second trial is the Warrior's Resolve. Here, initiates are forced to fight unarmed and unarmored battle brothers of the chapter in a one-on-one duel. Initiates are given a blade and are expected not so much to win, but rather to survive the duel, as it is common for initiates to be killed by a single blow from a battle brother. Should they be injured, an apothecary will see to their injury. The third trial is the Spirit Quest. Initiates are trained rigorously by the finest shadow masters of the chapter. For months they hone and practice the skill of stealth and infiltration until they have gained an affinity for wraith slipping. Once their affinity has been accomplished, initiates are expected to sneak up to a battle brother and steal a corvia before handing it back to the Shadow Master. It is not uncommon for a battle brother on instinct to kill the initiate in a single blow, as the corvia is a badge of honor, and thus they are protective of it. The fourth and final trial is the Silent Strike. In this case, initiates are transported to the forest moon orbiting Indral. Initiates are given a combat knife and a sack before being given instructions to locate and assassinate a feral orc nob before decapitating his head and placing it in the sack and returning with the trophy. Should an initiate pass all 4 trials, they will undergo the implantation procedure by the apothecaries to transform them into Astartes. Those who survive the procedure are given the rank of Neophyte and are thrust into a scout squad in the 10th Company.